Previously on my channel, I created a video titled The Hypocrisy of Petty Page, where I identified numerous blunders created by Petty Page. Shortly after my video was released, a streamer known as Papa Gut streamed and uploaded a video of himself reacting to my video. His stream caused a wave of backlash from Petty Page fans and his own fans to attack me for some of the strangest reasons. This also grabbed the attention of the subject matter at hand, Petty Page, who completely lost her mind when she saw the video and dug into the comment section on Papa Gut's video to find my reply. Before I begin any of my videos, I leave a disclaimer telling people to not attack and harass the person being discussed. Instead of this, I get attacked for not agreeing with the opinions that Papa Gut possesses, and now I'm being labelled with accusations of racism because I misworded sections in my video. For instance, when I mixed Nicki Minaj with Petty Page because they both look similar, and I couldn't be bothered to fix it until the end of the project. I knew some idiot would start coping over a minor mistake like that, but then Petty Page started crying about it, claiming that I thought black people look the same, which is untrue, and could be argued that what she stated was slander. Since I never directly stated this, and even I don't agree with what she stated, I could get an image of Samuel Jackson and compare it to Will Smith, and they don't look alike. It's a major misrepresentation of me, and to assume I thought they looked the same is a hypocrisy, since it just displays that you view black people to look the same. There is one comment that I would like to highlight. It is an excellent piece of criticism and highlights some of my flaws without being a complete douchebag like the large portion of the comments, so I thank this commenter for actually helping me. But before I continue reading any more comments, I'd like to analyse the response that Papa Gut made towards my video, and address any of the blunders he made in the video.
Alright. So somebody sent me this video here, and it is called The Hypocrisy of Petty Page. It was released today.
I like how my video wasn't given any time to grow before someone made a video on it. And it would be actually nice to know who sent the video to Papa Gut.
Smaller creator named, I don't know how to say this, Eammortal?
I should have clarified this when I started the channel. The E in Eammortal is silent.
Alright, relax. Is that how you say it? Eammortal? I don't know. It's an interesting name. And it's probably about the hypocrisy of Petty Page. Go figure, right? Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I disagree with Petty Page on pretty much everything.
I can agree with you on that.
But I still find that her videos refreshing. Because in all honesty, if we're gonna be honest here, most of the stuff around Trisha Paytas is boring.
I can tell since you have an entire playlist dedicated to her.
Most of it's the same thing oh, Trisha Paytas did this bad thing she's done 100 times. Oh, she did this bad thing in the past. I know. You know? So, like, watching a Petty Page video, it's a breath of fresh air. It's like, hey, look, I have a kind of a bad perspective on this. I was like, oh, great, let's do something. It's different. You know what I'm saying?
For me personally, I would not subject myself to torture from the tea community, especially when they enjoy slandering random YouTubers. Also, a side note, I will be cutting out parts of Papa Gut's livestream that I do not find worthy of responding to, or whenever he doesn't say anything.
But anyway, let's watch this, the hypocrisy. Maybe. But, dude, I hate this because, like, you guys know I have, like, a political background, and I'm kind of, like, a little more educated on things than other people. Here's the thing, and, like, no one's gonna... I'm, like, lighting myself on fire here. This is the thing. A lot of people, like a lot of non-white people that end up being popular or famous, they tend to have like whiter features.
What do you mean by that? That is extremely vague. Do you mean accent, skin color? It does not make sense how their features change just because their audiences have a different skin color.
Because most audiences are white, like in this place, and white people in general have subconscious biases. You know what I'm saying? And they feel more comfortable consuming a content creator that looks more white, right? So I talk about this in a lot of different videos about how there is a thing where all people have it, where when they see an unfamiliar person of the same skin color, they perceive that person as more human than an unfamiliar face as another skin color. And it's not until they get to know that person that goes away, right? So, it's one of the reasons why people are able to get more popular. It's like you look at somebody, it's like, oh, look, this person looks more comfortable. It's something that's like subconscious. You don't really, you're not really aware of it usually. And it's when we talk about like, oh, 90% of content creators are white. Well, I would argue most likely the other ones probably have very like Western features outside of their skin color for the most part. And I'm just bringing that up just as a point of education. It's kind of like a reality. And I think it's a good thing to bring up, because if you can be aware of your bias, if you can be aware of that fact, right? If you can go, okay, I'm a white person.
I think I understand your argument now. It's that generally black people who are more popular tend to be a bit more white, so people feel more comfortable for that, apparently. I agree with that to an extent, but that's debatable.
And I'm now aware that my brain perceives black people generally as less human than white people. When in an unfamiliar setting, you might feel more comfortable watching a black content creator you may not have watched in the first place, because you're aware of that like subconscious bias. So it's a good thing to acknowledge and try to understand.
Does this theory you are explaining apply to all races in the same manner? If it doesn't, then I'd start questioning your intention. For now, I will assume it applies to all races equally.
Do I think that way? I don't know, maybe. Probably without really knowing. I mean, I don't really watch YouTube, so... Well, I do on YouTube. That's pretty much the only time I watch it. And I'll watch whatever you send me, so... I probably do have it, I'm not really... I don't notice it. Or try not to.
Me personally, it doesn't affect me. I don't watch YouTube videos for comfort reasons. I don't know anyone who admits to doing that. I only care if the video is a good topic, it has good audio quality, and the editing is actually decent.
Okay, we'll see what we got.
The problems with Petty Page arise from her obsession with Keemstar, to her slandering other commentary.
Like in a way where she doesn't like him, or does like him, or what?
I meant that in a negative way. Earlier you could hear me mention the problems with Petty Page arise from, and yes, she does hate Keemstar. Also, another complaint I have with what you just stated is that if you listen to the way the sentence is structured, it implies that the viewer should wait till I bring up the topic in a later part in the video. But due to time constraints, I wasn't able to add in the part because I only planned on spending 2 months on the video, because after a certain amount of time, YouTube won't recommend my content, since the way YouTube works forces most channels to have somewhat of a schedule. So I'll just show some tweets and threads of her coping over Keemstar. Won't be going into detail about them since that would take too long.
Hey doll, Augie and his crew plus Edwin talked about you in his live stream night around an hour, 8 minutes into the live stream, trying to incite hate towards you. The reason I'm telling you is because Ed served my friends' channels with what could possibly be his last strike over commentary he did featuring.
It feels like I need to make a tutorial on how to watch one of my videos, because I read out every tweet. Look, all I'm trying to say is there's no point in what he's doing.
Dasha, an actual interview, plus clips that were used under fair use. I did report any comments that I felt were abusive, and Def Noodles was in the comment thread, and people were making lynch jokes, black noises. I blocked them. What is it like being a black content creator? Also, this I don't really know what. So this is Petty Page. Okay. Oh, what's it like being a content creator? Okay, this, always this. Okay.
I find it very odd that Def Noodles is watching Augie's content. Like being a black content creator. This, always this. The typical, I feel sorry for me because I am insert race.
Well, if that was happening, then if that thing was happening, that listen, it's quite possible Petty Page is full of shit. However, there is a very common thing that happens online, and the basic narrative is black people are too sensitive. It is a very common narrative that, like, people, like, for instance, if someone uses the N-word, and it's like, it's just a word, bro, and then like a black person gets up, you're just too sensitive, you're a black person, you're too sensitive.
Look, I understand what you're saying, but you've kind of exaggerated it a bit. It's understandable that a black person would be offended by the N-word. I'm not saying they can't be. I'm not trying to say that all black people are sensitive. I'm just saying that she specifically is. Once you look at all the other evidence combined when she plays the victim narrative. Look, I could have worded it better, but she always plays this victim narrative, and this really seems like something that she would do. Also, I've never heard a person say, "You're black, you're just too sensitive." No, I've never heard someone speak like that. That doesn't make any sense at all.
It's a real thing. Now, it's possible all of that was made up, but like that's a thing that happened. So if those things were happening that we read in the thread here, that like they were making lynching jokes, etc., then like, yeah, that's an experience that a black content creator would be having.
In my video, I felt that Petty Page was over-exaggerating the amount of racism in the livestream chat. I am not stating that there was no racism. I believe there would have been racism no matter what. I feel that Petty Page emphasized it so she could manipulate her audience into villainizing Augie, perceiving him and his fans as racist. The fan who was in the chat watching the video was obviously pathetic, sending screenshots to Petty Page just to stir up drama, which reminds me of how one of your fans sent you my video on her. Anyway, Petty Page's fans would have had to stare at the livestream chat the entire time just to rub dirt on Augie. And the fact that she's bringing it up shows that Petty Page is willing to start random drama over a comment section. Just like how she went after me, someone with 200 subscribers, criticizing her. This truly shows how pathetic she is. Anyway, on with the video.
Wait, I'm so confused. Like so far. So what you would do at this point is you would say like, okay, so they were making these claims and like here's the video thumbnail or whatever, here's the video, an hour and 8 minutes in, so like let's see if those things were happening, and then you would discredit it. But we're not doing that. What we're doing is we're like, oh, we're kind of just going with the black people are too sensitive, and like that's just not it, bro.
That's not it, bro. That just sounds extremely cringe, and that isn't my argument. The reason why the chat was never shown it was, I had only found the original stream halfway through scripting the video, and I had only planned to do something about it after I finished finalizing the video, but I had completely forgot it. It didn't really bother me because I didn't expect a random 100k sub YouTuber to come after me, expecting more out of me. I don't really have much incentive when I don't earn money off YouTube. So why should I be expected to do that?
Like, oh, they're just a snowflake. Okay, but like if someone's in there making lynching jokes and making monkey sounds or something, or I would assume that would be the racist noise you would make. Or yeah, like ooga booga. I mean, that's what I would assume. It's like racist bullshit sound. Like, then that's a fucking valid thing.
Yes, it is a valid reason, but the lynching jokes depend on context. And if you check the definition of the word, it specifically states to kill someone for an alleged offense without a legal trial. The definition never specified race, but historically it did happen to black people, as well as people who have been accused of being a witch. I will, however, reiterate this definition later on in the response.
And all Petty Page said was like, this is what being a black creator is like, is getting fucking attacked for your race. And it's like, if these are like, what you have to prove that to be not true. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Is he trying to count the amount of seconds?
I'm trying to find like the page, you know, like, let me see.
How do you block people in a live stream chat? The real
I think you can do that.
I've rarely streamed on YouTube in the past, so I thought the feature was exclusive to Twitch. Augie RFC responded with a video titled "Responding to Petty Page's Lies About Me," where he covered this tweet specifically, where he debunked her main point that the commentary community was racist, which was a
well, listen, man. I've seen some of the tweets, and some of these people are you would say what you would say that they're based, right? They're kind of racist, yeah, man. It's a lot of young kids making edgy jokes.
In your argument, you claim only some of them are racist. meaning the entire community isn't racist. Most of the time I'm on Twitter, there are only small number of jokes about race, and 90% of the time they are being sarcastic. There are only very few people who actually are being racist. But I haven't come across many since Twitter usually bans them. Your argument also falls flat, since you did not provide any evidence at all. Also, the statement, a lot of kids making edgy jokes. I find it funny you say this. It really shows how out of touch you are. Anyway, I'm going to show a clip from Augie's stream that proves the commentary community isn't racist.
The commentary community, as you guys know, is full of white people. And they're not just white, they're racist on top of it, alright? All of the community is racist. As you guys know, the commentary community is most known for being the most racist community on the internet. It's not like most of the people in the community are probably center left leaning and, you know, not at all offensive or edgy at all. In fact, I would even argue that the only person in the community that's like somewhat even offensive is probably me and maybe Turkey Tom, although he's kind of subdued it.
It's kind of true. I'm just saying, man. Let's see. So apparently this is the video. And they said an hour and 8 minutes in. I'm just gonna verify it. I'm gonna go look in here. Right? This
as soon as I quote tweet them, or B, change their names so that my fans don't find out who the fuck they are is insane, alright? Like, I quote tweeted one guy, and instantly—
commentary community don't like me being around her being a black female and stuff like that. So she pulls that card. And like every time I talk about Jessie Smiles in any capacity, whether it's to say I think her video on Gabby Hanna was bad, they're like, don't you know that she was a victim of such and such? And I'm just like, yeah, but like that's not what I'm talking about. I'm sorry that happened and like all that. But like,
why does that even enter the conversation?
The commentary you talk about 9% white people. At some point, we have to acknowledge that most still want me occupying that space. It's possible. I don't know if that is what it is. It's possible. But, you know, this could be playing like victim.
Because I don't know.
Like, it could just be a write-off and being like, oh, valid criticism against me aren't valid because it's all racism.
It's like, here, you're just going after a victim of this. It's like, I'm not going after them for that.
Nobody's going after people because they're victims or because they're black or because they're a woman. Okay, maybe I do that a little bit sometimes. Whatever, the woman part. But it's like most of the time.
Well, people do that sometimes.
When I have an argument with somebody, that's not the crux of my argument. Is that, oh, well, I'm going to make fun of you and that's all I do. Usually I have a point attached to it that nobody refuses, or that people refuse to respond to. So I just go ad hominem because that's all people respond to. All right? But it's like, why is
It's just a lot of people making fun of women in here, which is like, whatever. Women are stupid.
Relevant to the conversation that X person is a victim, so you can't talk about them. All right.
I'm calling her a pig, so I don't know if that would be racist.
How the f do you get racism from calling someone a pig? Jesus, what are we fallen into? I'll break this into terms that you can understand. Pig is an insult to fat people. Look, this is already kind of sad. You better have a good argument next.
If you being a victim just cripples your ability to have conversations with people, maybe you need to get out, all right? Maybe this ain't for you, all right? I'm sorry, but why is that relevant to the conversation? So-and-so's a victim. Okay, and we're not talking about that right now. Shut the fuck up.
It's like you can't argue.
I mean, if they are the victim, that seems like kind of a shitty
Why my point is bad. Like if I say like, well, I don't think this video is very good because it has lots of drawn out segments.
So far, I'm not seeing anything like racist in the chat though, and like their shit's really just boils down to like probably a bit of ignorance.
A lot of evidence, a lot of emotional argument.
Yes, you call them ignorant because they don't agree with your beliefs. Since you say that, I may as well call you ignorant. We'll see about that though.
And people go like, dude, like, trauma. And I'm like, alright, but come on, man, just let me fucking... I can't say anything, literally nothing. Because like, if I say a video is bad, then people go, oh my god, he's criticizing the video. If I say a video is bad about somebody who has like a traumatic experience, they go, oh my god, he's a fucking rape apologist. And like, dude,
this shit's gotta go.
Things a lot harder.
Okay, yeah, we're starting to see the racism. Okay.
It's super
this shit's gotta go. This community, this art, I don't know, T community, art.
Yeah, so why is there a dancing gorilla? I'm assuming that is about... I'm assuming that's about Petty Page.
The only racist comment that you have found so far was a YouTube comment referring to the group as a bunch of gorillas. What you negated to mention was that the comment was from a verified YouTube account, meaning that the YouTube channel had at least 100,000 subscribers or more. You failed to mention the name of the YouTuber, who went by the name Scrimzox or Natigska, who had allegedly sent gore to minors. Since you went after me for my mistakes, rather than calling out a massive channel like that, proves that you are a complete hypocrite.
You want to be near that? That's like the visual that I see when I see there's drama and like art people and T people are covering it. It's just like flies flying around with a pile of shit. It's weird.
Yeah, so right here, like lynch the art community. I think they're referring to Petty Page.
How embarrassing. You are assuming the T community specifically refers to her. I'm not even sure if Petty Page is fat enough to be considered as a group of people just yet. Why are you trying to reach just to prove your argument? It just makes you look like a clown, when you mess the argument up. Clearly you are biased against the commentary community, even though I may have been biased against Petty Page throughout the video. I never knowingly tried to twist a statement from her.
Lynch the art community. Yeah, there's some racism in here, man.
Look, even if the comment was referring to her, the definition of lynch means a group of people kill someone for an alleged offense without a legal trial, especially by hanging. All they did was make a joke about murdering the art community, which in this situation isn't the nicest thing that someone can joke about. I don't believe there was any racist intention, unless you try to bring historical context of the word into this. But the context that this word was used in was a livestream chat as a joke. Or is it the fact that you're assuming the comment has a racist intention? Personally, I don't believe they do, since they are referring to the community and not specifically her.
It's like, you know, and it's not their fault necessarily. I would say that their general take on like black content creators is a little ignorant.
There we go once again with the ignorant statement.
But this is still in there. It seems like there is some racism in the chat.
I'm sorry, but the only racism is coming from Scrimzox, who is like kicked out of the commentary community currently. You can even ask technicals about this.
I think we're pretty much good here. Yeah, so I'm seeing like a little racism in here in the chat. I wouldn't say it's enough for them to like notice, so I wouldn't say it's like active, but I would say that it's reasonable enough for somebody to be like, yeah, they're making fun of like black people. And I understand that, like, listen, it's possible that Petty Pages uses her blackness as like a get out of jail free card. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but I think that you're kind of just proving the point when there's racism in the chat after she's like, oh, you're only attacking me because I'm black, and then you're like, oh yeah, N-word, you know what I mean? That's not really, you're not exactly proving anything, you know, you're just proving everything. Okay. All right, let's keep going.
I've already proved my point. Yeah, you're just reaching.
I then challenged her to come on my live stream, to which she replied, I'm too busy sticking shit up my asshole for OnlyFans. That was genuinely her reply.
Does Petty Page actually have an OnlyFans? Not that I'm curious or anything else.
She did have an OnlyFans account at one point, but it no longer exists.
And it's probably, to this day, one of the worst replies I'll ever get on Twitter. I mean, just it's actually terrible.
It's not.
I think that that's a reasonable reply here. I don't think that, like, he was being racist. Again, I think that he might have been a little bit ignorant, but there seemed to be some racism in the chat, and I only watched like maybe 3 or 4 minutes, so...
So you're continuing that argument about them being ignorant even though you have no evidence at all? Some racism? Don't you mean the racism was coming from one person who is in deep shit currently? Also, is it hard to just admit that Augie wasn't being racist? She always brings race into it. Not sure if that's me, bro. With an out-of-context clip of a guy named Colton reposting an image of Augie kneeling on Nick Dioreo's neck, and Augie mentions how bad the drawing is, but Petty Page takes it out of context to try and prove that they are racist somehow.
Can we see it in the right context? That would be really good. Like, that's one of those things where I'd have to see the correct context, you know? Yeah, I'd have to see I mean, we're not going to see it, so...
What do you mean by right context? You're assuming that I'm lying. Okay, dickhead. I could have showed the clip, but when I downloaded it off Twitter, it was corrupt, so I completely gave up on that. So I tried to explain it as best as I can. So I could have included a clip of Augie defending himself, but that isn't evidence. And I like how at the end there, oh, we're not gonna see it. Not every video on YouTube is made specifically for you, Papa Gut. Stop acting entitled and learn to review a video properly. What do you seriously expect from someone with like 200 subscribers? Look, I'm really curious. Do you have a disability? Because if you do, I won't go as hard on you. But you're someone with 100,000 subscribers. You should at least be able to review a video properly. Anyway, I'm going to show you the so-called correct context.
Your fake victim status attached to it. You actually want to, like, harm people. And that's completely disgusting, in my opinion. So, you suck. You're an awful fucking person for posting this. But then she continued, posting an out-of-context clip right here. They say, Petty Page says, she always brings race into it. Not sure that's me, bro.
Scumbags.
Wow.
What?
Okay, let me lower this a little bit.
It's a horrible image.
What is wrong with you?
Hey, that was Colton. What? Oh.
Yeah, Colton drew that, by the way. It's a picture of me kneeling on Nicholas Diorio's
that's
neck.
the type
Bro,
of
you're
artist-
gonna get flat
Yeah. Augie said he only likes artists that draw pictures of him.
Hey! Listen.
This is why all artists are bad. Why are you showing this on stream, bro? This is bad.
Nick told me to. This is fucking AIDS.
Nick's an asshole. What the fuck?
I like how they're talking about like my dad in here. So in this clip, I don't even know how this is supposed to make me look bad. Somebody reposted on Nick's locale thread a drawing that Colton made. Actually, I think Colton himself posted this. This is a drawing he made of me kneeling on Nick's neck. Now, if you think that when I received this fan art, I was enthusiastic and I thought it was the best thing I've ever seen, you're completely mistaken. In fact, when I saw he drew this and tweeted it at me, I immediately went into my group chat and said, this kid's gotta go. He fucking sucks. Why would he draw this? This is so bad. Like, literally, why would he draw this? This is so fucking terrible. And even in this clip right here, we're talking about how terrible this drawing is. But Petty Page is clipping this and presenting it as if we're endorsing it, and we're making jokes about, like, kneeling on, like George Floyd. Like, I don't know what she's trying to say. I actually don't know what she's trying to say. Because, you know, because I know the context, okay, let me collect myself here. Because I know the context of this clip, I know that it's not bad. But nobody knows what the fuck they're watching, so they're assuming that we're just firing up streams, shitting on Petty Page for being black, shitting on her, I guess, saying that we should lynch her or something like that. Now they think that we're just making fun of George Floyd's death, I guess, and it's working. Her dumb fuck fans who don't know what the fuck they're watching are just assuming that. These dudes are weird as fuck. I think somebody even called me, like, a rape apologist or something in here. Let me see if I can find that one. Nick and Augie are legit racist, and they're also rape apologists. Oh, my bad. They also threw racist on there as well. Now again, look, I don't care what these freaks think about me, alright? Because they're always gonna think the absolute worst of me, and they're always gonna weaponize their clips against me. I just have to address this because I'm blocked by her on all of my accounts. So it's not like I can just come out and respond to this instantly and just shit on her on Twitter a little bit. I'm blocked. She's literally slandering me while I'm blocked.
See, the thing is, if it was just Def can't take criticism, they would have left it at that. But because he said, I don't know, seems like you guys have racist tendencies, this may be a little deeper than what I'm doing here on the web. They are now vehemently trying to disprove.
I mean, listen, it's possible, bro. I mean, yeah, people throw around the word racism a lot, but there are like a lot of implicit biases here. Me personally, looking at Def Noodles though, not to be an asshole, but Def Noodles is very white passing. I wouldn't have even. I don't think anybody would have assumed, unless I'm missing something. I don't think anybody would have assumed that he was whatever he's at, a Colombian or something, Brazilian. Sorry. Yeah, if he's on Twitter, if you could send it to me, that'd be great. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure Def Noodles has the "you're just being racist to me" card.
Yeah, with the Def Noodles thing, I agree with you. And I've never seen a person go after someone for being Brazilian, unless they have a different skin tone. He grew up rich. He only lived in Brazil a few years.
Wait, is he going after? I'm so.
So look, here's a suggestion, Papa Gut. Can you talk when the video isn't playing? Otherwise I have to cut you out at the end, and it sounds all fucking funny. So what I think he's doing is he's talking to a chat member, and someone asked, oh, who's he going after? Oh, I wonder who. For this small segment, I'm going after her respect for Def Noodles. But obviously, I'm going after Petty Page. That's the entire point of the video. Were you not paying attention at all? You're really starting to push my limits here. If you're not going to pay attention, you may as well not watch the video. I put in all this effort, and then you just come along, start making a mess of your arguments, and come to random conclusions.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even know what the her point is here, if I'm being absolutely honest. I don't even understand what she's trying to say. Like, what? I don't know what's happening. I feel like we're missing a lot of backstory here. It sounds like she's criticizing him there, but I don't really understand what's happening.
I'm sorry I can't provide enough context, but that was an entire thread. And yes, I do agree her point is a bit gibberish. And for that last point, she is criticizing him, but It's weird, she's friends with him, but she will still criticize him. To be honest, she doesn't sound like a good friend. To be honest, I don't know what their relationship is or anything. It would be nice to have some more context, but I couldn't find any near the thread. You always have to emphasize white people. It's like everyone who's against you is white, because you just hate white people for some reason. Then you say they can't handle—
Me too, bro. Fuck Whitey.
That line I just said came off cringe as fuck. For anyone wondering, I'll go back and I'll redo the video. I will take in consideration the criticisms that Papa Gut gave me that are valid, which there isn't a whole lot of. We'll continue further and see if the whole video collapses in on itself. And at this—
Oh, so they're involving it in the conversation? Okay. This is all
he
over
is
the
involved
place.
in— You're saying how this video is all over the place, even though everything's ordered in dates. Plus, there's also timestamps, which is really sad how a person could get this lost in such a simple video.
Oh, so are you trying to say that, like, Petty Page can't be a racist because she's married to a white guy? That's not really true. Modern Warrior's super racist, and he's married to a white girl, so...
In this scene, he's responding to his own chat, so this is unimportant. This is obvious by the fact that I never made this argument. If anyone is wondering. Like someone saying, "You are not black," and me going, "Yeah, I am." And
You're not black, you're not black.
don't shoot the messenger, I'm only reading out a tweet. You whispered it, so I'm gonna assume you were joking here. Here's my proof. And then they are like, well, it's not about you not being black. It's about you referencing yourself as black to avoid criticism. Finally here, Petty Page says something right. Many people like to say on Twitter that you aren't black and they treat it like it's sacred. Which—
That's fucked up. People say it to me all the time, bro. It's obsessed with me because I'm black. You know, I mean, like, I grew up without a dad, so... I'm just kidding. It's fucked. Well, I'm not kidding. I did grow up without a dad.
Just to further make this point that I made more reasonable, is I've had people that I've met on Twitter experience the same thing. This is probably the only thing that I've complimented Petty Page on. Hopefully that can change, but what she said to me on Twitter doesn't help her case. I'll cover that at the end of the video.
Okay.
It's kind of difficult.
If you're confused, I saw Petty Page was going live, apparently talking about me. So I decided to check.
It's so weird, this whole commentary community thing, though. Like, people get so upset. Do I speak Spanish back? Of course. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Me llamo Papi Gut. Papi Gordo. Is that it? I don't know. People, when they get criticized in the... It's such a weird, like, toxic space. When people get criticized in the commentary community, they go fucking ballistic. It's crazy. And this is just a criticism on, like, everybody. Like, Keemstar called me out one time. I thought it was funny as fuck. People just get so offended. It's weird in general. It's kind of funny. It's just, I think it's funny because, like, it's a bunch of fucking crazy people me too, man, online saying crazy fucking shit, and everybody's like really mean. Somebody criticizes you and like they're a demon to you. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know. I feel like some of these people maybe grew up online too much. You're gay. Thanks, bro. Like, what the dude? I'm in the middle of talking. This person has never talked to my chat before, and he just comes in here, he's like, "You're gay." Like, that's the first thing he's ever said to me. I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. It's true though. But yeah, man, people get so fucking offended. It's fucking weird. You know, I don't understand how people have that much hate like in them. I don't know. Maybe it's because I've lived in the real world until I was 30, and I had worked a real job, and I know what it's like working around people like you don't like, and then you learn to like them, and you learn to deal with different people, and then you learn to deal with bullshit. And like, you know, I've been a lot, figuratively and literally, at my job. So you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I guess I just have thicker skin or something.
Look, all I'm gonna say is it depends on what you're criticizing them about. If you're gonna falsely accuse them of being racist, then of course they're gonna attack back. Also, the person could be having a rough time. For example, if they're not monetized yet, they don't want to deal with your shit. Or they can be like me, spend a long time on a video that they didn't enjoy making because they ran out of topics to cover. And plus they had a deadline, so they had to rush some parts of the video. I'll suggest one thing: you ask them for permission before you criticize their content. Just a heads up before it starts any fights and any other problems.
Conversation.
Make a video, okay? Make a video.
I did! I already debunked you!
People are fucking terrible.
Are they talking to each other, or is they just like having like a weird thing?
I'll break this down. It's an edit that I made of an Augie stream where he watched a Petty Page stream trying to get a debate with her. So she didn't know he was there until he followed her Twitch account. which devolved into her raging for quite a while. He basically sat there watching her complain and meld and seethe and cope. Since she couldn't be bothered to respond to the criticism that Augie gave about her.
Toxic. I think that's the problem. Everybody gets into like these toxic fucking food throwing matches and nobody really sits down and has like a real conversation. It's kind of sad.
I completely agree with you there, but there are outliers such as antisocial people and people with really short tempers. Make a video on me because she knew she would lose in a debate against Augie.
I mean, it's possible, or maybe she just didn't want to deal with it, man. Like, I'm just saying, sometimes like it's just who gives a like, what do you, you know what I mean? It's just like a weird thing.
I don't agree at all. She provoked them to respond to her and ignores all the criticism given to her. She's just refusing to be held accountable for her wrongdoings. She's basically running away from the drama. I don't know how you can defend her in this situation. The real issue is she can just run off and have no backlash at all, which sets a bad precedent for future dramas.
Slandered me.
I gotta say, the music is pretty high.
I'll just increase the volume of the audio next time. Just kidding. That's probably because you're amplifying the sound of the video with that extension that you have. But I have noticed my music's a bit loud. I'll set it to -30 in Premiere Pro rather than setting it to -24. Just that I don't usually get comments telling me how high my volume should be.
Why do you want this interaction with me? Fuck off.
I mean, it's possible she's dodging it because she thinks that she'll lose. It's also possible that she just doesn't want to deal with the drama, you know what I mean? Drama's not fun. Like, I honestly, at this point, like, I've been, like, the drama I had on TikTok was insane. Probably, I don't know, man. It's probably fucking worse than any of this shit, but that's also because TikTok doesn't allow you to fucking defend yourself sometimes. But like, it's stressful, man. It's like unnecessary stress. So I get that. But I try to carry myself out in a way that's like not that stressful.
This does not excuse any of her actions. Also, I'm not too sure how the drama started, but she did bring this upon herself, so unlucky for her. She gets what she deserves.
Debunking that too.
Petty Page.
Yeah, why don't just like leave at that point? She doesn't want to defend herself, whatever. Put that clip in there and then make a video or whatever.
Petty Page does not know that Augie is still watching her stream. She's just seething over him for no reason. All he's doing is just watching her stream. Augie has every right to continue watching the stream since she is the only one who is lying and slandering him behind his back. Or even tries to own up.
I think it's like a fine response, you know? Like, whatever.
At this point, you're just making up excuses to defend her, which is kind of sad. Just listening over this, you sound really bitter, which is really funny. It's really obvious that you're taking her side on this whole entire video.
Consent, my dude. Like, I don't
Consent!
Oh, consent. Yeah, that's a little exaggeratory. I would say, like, it seems like he's not being particularly respectful of boundaries. But I get it. I think that's just kind of like the toxic aspect of the community. But yeah, like, they don't want to talk to you. Move on. It comes off as a little desperate.
Oh, he's not being respectful of her boundaries. What did I state earlier? I stated that Petty Page doesn't fully know that Augie is viewing the stream, and he's just watching her cope, so it's mostly her fault. If it somehow looks like he's crossing boundaries, she only knows he's watching because he's subscribed to her Twitch account, which in return notified her. Then you proceed to reach and blame this situation on the toxic aspect of the commentary community. First, you accuse the commentary community of being racist. Now you claim that these people don't respect boundaries. It's amazing how many lengths you go to defend her. It's pathetic. In my opinion, the T community would do the same exact thing but worse, since they go after each other all the time with accusations of racism thrown around quite a bit.
Go away! Stop talking about me then!
Say to him and she throws a tantrum about you at the same time.
I don't know, at this point, it's one of those things where, like, he probably should, like, go away. It's kind of immature, but then also she should just stop acknowledging that he's watching. Like, just move on, you know? Everybody's got to toughen up.
Okay, finally something we can agree on.
Terrified.
That's it.
This is Petty, so I guess that's where she gets her name from.
No!
Like,
Fuck
I'm not
you!
gonna sit
You're
here
the
and
one who's
defend
talking about me.
myself. happened.
It is like a little weird that he's just dragging on. I guess maybe he's offended because he was called racist, so it's a reasonable response to get offended and like. But it seems like she's pretty much to me. It kind of signals to me that she's kind of like, you know, she's like, whatever, I don't care. Like, this is kind of a W. You could use this, make a video out of it, be like, hey, listen, she's not defending her points, and I think that's because she doesn't have any points, and she's a smelly fucking poopy wiener, and like everybody wins. You know what I mean? Well, not Petty Page, but.
That I'm a racist, saying that I made jokes about like George Floyd and shit on my stream when talking about you. That's literally a bullshit.
I want to see that clip that they're referring to.
The clip that they're referring to is Augie's original stream. Like I mentioned earlier in this response, the clip had some glitches and errors. That's when you called me a liar because I couldn't even show the clip because I felt that it had issues. But it's a joke that they disavowed shown in the clip.
But really, they just wanted to hang out with you. It's that kid who punched you instead of saying hello. Do you get what I mean?
I'm the kid who what are you talking about?
Just me, he says all this.
I don't know, he reminds me more of like a little squirrely kid that would just kind of like talk a lot and people would just show out a little bit. But people would probably like him, you know what I mean? But they'd be like, dude, you talk too much, you know?
It's literally Augie's job to talk. It's not like your streams where we don't talk for 5 minutes.
And then your excuse being that you're playing with your pussy. That's weird behavior.
Let's see. Absolutely not. I literally am playing with my pussy. Anytime you suggest we go live, fucking schedule's packed. Sorry. Ew, that's weird. That's just a weird thing to say. That's I was talking about how he was being immature. That's a little like I get it. You do OnlyFans, but you don't got to be so graphic. It's also weird. How old is this kid? Because that feels like a weird thing to say to this guy. He looks young. I wouldn't probably be like, yeah, bro, because I don't know how old he is at this point. He looks very young, so I would just not talk about jerking off. Like, oh yeah,
just gifted one.
How old are you? 14? Yeah, I'm fucking playing with my dick right now. I don't know. Pretty sure he's her age. Oh, he's of age. All right, he looks young. I don't know. At least at the time. Thank you so much for the sub, brother.
Not accepting my debate after you slander me, and then your excuse being that you're playing with your pussy. That's weird behavior.
I could literally.
He's 20. Okay. How old is this? How long ago did this happen?
The 28th of July, 2021.
Alright, fair enough.
Put all of the thumbnails on the floor and like roll to sleep in it in a blanket.
Okay.
Like, I don't care. There's
Fair
too many
enough.
videos for me to give a shit
I still probably wouldn't talk about playing with my wiggler, you know what I mean? It's a little weird.
about.
She's too lazy to even take it.
She's not 45. If she is, she looks really good for 45. Let's be honest. Not 45, though.
Stop the cap. She does not look good. If she wants to look half decent, she's gonna have to lose a lot of weight.
Is she 30? She looks good for 30, too. What the f***? I'm f***ing 31. I look like dog I actually look like absolute dog Is she really 30? That's f***ing nutty. She's 29 years old, apparently. Wow. September 4th, 1991. Oh, so she's 30 now. Oh, shit. That's nuts, dude. She has a fucking...
Jesus Christ, dude. You don't have to simp this hard.
Just under somebody and
Why
expect.
are we still watching this? I mean, like, we got the point here. She dodges it, but okay.
We need context, Papa Gut. We don't want to miss the exciting. Also, I was dissecting her argument to an extent, and I wanted to get the duration of the video to be a bit longer at the time.
I'm playing with an Among Us.
You would know a lot about
Saying,
cows coming
just
home,
go off
wouldn't
and go
you?
do something.
Sorry.
Moderators, thank you so
How
much for
sus
handling
is that?
this, by the way.
I've been waiting to do an Among Us reference in my videos for a while now. Oh, poor darling. Are we meant to feel... I'm gonna say something off topic, but on topic. I f***ed up that transition right there. You can see it. Another reason why you should check once more over your own work. So once again, I want to remind the audience that I'm redoing the video.
Yeah, it was probably not her own fans criticizing her. I don't know.
Chill, you are coming to conclusions before you have any evidence.
It's so simple.
Like, I understand why he wants to have the debate, but like she's been like, no, it is like rather obsessive to just continue this. You know, just clip her saying I don't want to debate you or whatever and just move on. It's just kind of weird to me.
I'll repeat this again. She doesn't know Augie is there. He's only listening, so the only person being obsessive is Paige. Stupid to realize this, and it's not turning out well for her.
So
Anyway, let's move on
So toxic. Look, I got like an All Might thing. This is what we're doing during the stream now. And
to
we'll
our
watch.
next topic.
Look at
Her
that.
racism and hypocrisy.
Oh, put it inside the Among Us. Now there's an All Might in the Among Us.
The racism and hypocrisy section. There's a few issues with this section, one of them being the absence of scripting, since all I had to do was read out tweets. If I'm able to pull apart Papa Gut's arguments in this section, it will not look good for him. Also, quit calling me toxic, since it's nearly impossible for me to have respect for a person who slanders others.
You can't be racist towards white people because it's power plus privilege. I don't know the bullshit. It's ridiculous. You can be racist towards white people. If you want to debate me with that page, it'll be a nice debate. We have a nice conversation, actually. I wouldn't fucking call you an asshole or anything, because that's fucking toxic as hell.
Nice jab at me. I guess it's alright to falsely label people as racist, according to you. You call my actions toxic over what she has been saying? Okay then. I guess it's alright if I start taking jabs at you for other things, such as your weight. But I will not do that because I have some level of respect for you, even if it's considerably low. Let's hope you can change my opinion of you by the end of the video. It's a hate crime by me saying hello.
Hello, white people. Well, why is that racist? I would just have to see why they said that.
The point I made here was meant to look bigger after I show all the other evidence, and plus it's kinda pathetic how she has to single out white people. Papa Gut, what if a white person did the same thing but for black people? There would be a much different answer and reaction. Also, the context is underneath.
I don't know. I think we need a little more context. Maybe she's just being a weirdo.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite hard to find more evidence for this one tweet, and I can't predict what she's thinking. Well, the tweet isn't my main point, so my argument still stands, going anywhere.
Like, I don't see a lot of her interactions. What it seems like, though, is that, like, Petty Page does seem to use the race card a lot. So she'll be like, oh, black people don't like me. And then the response from the other people seems to be fine, but then some of the commenters of those, like, all, like in that chat are kind of racist.
You're mostly right, but there was only one person that you saw who clearly was being racist. This does not include the comment where the person called Petty Page a pig.
You know, and that is something that's usually white people aren't facing that, except from Hassan. He's a very mean guy. He makes me feel, he calls me Kraka with the hard R, though. I can't say it because nobody should say, you know. But you know what I mean? So, yeah, you shouldn't be racist, people, but...
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Well, wait, I don't understand. White people state institutional racism doesn't exist, and honestly, they are right. The countless amount of discrimination white people have to face should tell us we should stop whining. Oh, yeah, it's being sarcastic. This isn't racist at all. This is just them. So this seems to be a sarcastic thing saying that, like, hey, you know, systemic racism basically exists. It does. Okay.
I understand that the tweet is sarcastic. I stuffed up the argument, but the argument I was meant to state is that because the joke was worded so poorly, she ends up negating any racism towards white people. So I admit, while I stuffed up the argument, my original point still stands.
So, okay, so this is like one of those things where I do tend to believe that the most systemic racism is, I think that, you know, yeah, most systemic racism is historical systemic racism. And I think that's undeniable. Like, you know, a history of like slavery, you know, segregation, denial of opportunity, et cetera, et cetera. Black people weren't people in America until like 1965. That being said, I don't think that there are a lot of examples of systemic racism now. I also I'm not black, so it's kind of difficult to make that broad accusation, especially since there are different areas that have different experiences. And I'm from New York, and obviously I'm white, you know, but still those historical impacts of systemic racism are still hitting us today. Like, it's an undeniable thing. It makes absolutely no sense that that black people are they're doing the worst in America. You know what I'm saying? It makes unless you think that black people are literally inferior to white people. The only explanation for why they're performing so poorly is because of a history of systemic racism, right? That being said, there are still some modern day examples of systemic racism.
I agree that systemic racism does exist to an extent, but I do not believe it is as big as you make it out to be. But first, I need to see your position on this point before I make any further judgments.
I know people are going to jump down my throat, but like voter ID laws, that is an example of systemic racism. Usually in more conservative areas, they try to make it so that poor people in general, but those poor people happen to be black, they try to make it so that it's very difficult for them to vote. So, for instance, instead of doing like a 7 to 7 a.m. kind of a 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. thing, they'll cut it down to like a 9 to 5, which makes it difficult for people who are working 9 to 5s to do it. They'll also make it difficult to vote on Sundays. And in a lot of poor areas, they are very religious, and they'll take a church bus on Sundays to go vote. Well, if they make it so you can't vote on Sundays, that makes it's very difficult to happen. Especially, it's very difficult for you to vote, especially since transportation might be an issue in a very poor area.
I disagree with your view on voter ID laws. I'm curious how you know that they are specifically targeting people of colour. However, it is a negative impact that black people are poor from previous laws such as Jim Crow laws. But you stated that the voter ID laws cover poor people in general, which goes right against your point about it being racist. The laws affect both sides, not just one side. These changes only focus on time schedules, so it is a reach that you are thinking that they are racist laws.
Right? They'll make it so that you can't like hand out food or drinks on the lines. They'll cut down the amount of areas that people have to vote. They'll generally target specific actions, right? This is something that even Christopher Wallace, which I love Christopher Wallace, even acknowledged on Fox News. Like, this is a thing that's happening, and it would be considered a form of systemic racism.
Christopher Wallace being a member of Fox News, that didn't age too well because he left for CNN Plus, which ended up failing miserably. The only thing I find interesting about Chris Wallace was the fact that he was the debate moderator for the debate between Trump and Biden. To be honest, that debate was funny, but he ruined the entire debate by acting like a My counter argument to your argument is, why does his opinion matter? Just because he used to work for Fox News until he left and doesn't even have a net worth as large as Tucker Carlson? Before I can even agree with you on this matter, there has to be more non-biased sources that agree with this view.
So it does exist in some areas. It's obviously not as impactful as it used to be. I would honestly go as far, I'm not going to get super political, this is something that I would be a long-form discussion, but I would consider like welfare a form of systemic oppression in general to anybody who's on welfare, but especially poor communities. I don't think that it really provides opportunity, specifically in very poor areas. It kind of just stabilizes people, and it makes them like, a kind of a victim to whichever party is supporting welfare more, which was the Democratic Party. And so like you're forced to not really be able to vote in a way that you may want to vote, right? So that's why I'm a UBI guy. That's a whole other conversation for a different day, which is reforming our welfare system in America. I'm not going to get too political on this right now.
If I asked how Petty Page was oppressed, she probably wouldn't even come up with an answer. That's how stupid she is. Here she goes.
Why so mean? Jesus Christ.
No wonder she's so pissed with me. To be honest, I'm probably not wrong either. Again, claiming that all black people are oppressed.
Where?
I generalized her statements. If I was using this as a point, I would have shown you where.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. I understand the fundamentals of what Petty Page is saying. I mean, obviously there are whole BLM riots over a black person getting like beat up. But here's what I will say is that, like, yeah, white people, we're getting super fucking political in this video.
If you don't feel comfortable talking about the video, then don't watch the video. To be honest, I hate getting political, but it's easy to make content off. The problem is that most of politics is arguing, and I'm not really into that.
There is a different perception of white people versus black people, especially like white women versus black women. White women tend to be seen in society as like the damsel in distress, like victim, and black women. There is a stereotype in society that black women are very masculine and they can deal with their own shit, and they don't get the same media coverage.
I agree with you on this viewpoint. The media commonly labels people under stereotypes, which can lead to racism. But one reason the media may prefer to ignore black people is if they see a topic or event that is more dramatic. I don't know if that's 100% correct, but it likely has an effect.
Usually we do have a more white focus, honestly. That's why that's why Kyle Rittenhouse happened. A bunch of white people killing each other became the center narrative for BLM for like a year.
That's because the media was trying to prove that Kyle Rittenhouse was a white supremacist, which ended up failing miserably. Also, firearms are a controversial topic, and that would have easily made headlines. Also, the media cannot and won't stick to one topic or event. They have to have a fresh topic at some point, and since it had connection to the George Floyd protests, it gained huge amounts of attention. Actually, there is a video showing the desperation of the journalists trying to accuse Kyle Rittenhouse of being a white supremacist. The video is titled, "Kyle Rittenhouse Suspected of Flashing White Supremacy Signs at Bar." In the video, it literally shows him making the OK symbol, but the media call it the white supremacy symbol, which is stupid since the media were trolled by 4chan into believing this.
Which is bizarre, right? Like that's very bizarre. It is a very real thing, man. Like, yeah, they're usually what, and it comes down to palatability. Like, we have a lot of white people in America, so like white people, like they find, we were talking about it before, the perception of unfamiliar people to people of the different races. White people see white people as more human. Black people see black people as more human. We have more white people in society, therefore, and not only that, but the dominating, beauty standard is generally like white people with like thinner noses, and like straighter hair, etc., etc.
Shorter hair? Off. Really depends how short you're talking about. If it's like almost till they're bald, then no.
So people that look like that, like white people, want to consume more people that are white, and so they feel worse for them, and the media picks up on that, and they're trying to make money, so they tend to suppress black issues, generally speaking. Obviously, with BLM going on, we're talking more about black issues, but even in that sense, it tends to be rather performative. We don't really care until it's like an election cycle, and then that's when like the news starts to use black issues as a token. There's a lot to talk about here, but yeah. I mean, the fundamentals of what she's saying is not untrue. I don't know about this specific instance, but it is the truth, man.
My point is meant to be that she is stating that white people shouldn't have a platform to speak up about their abuse, and that it should only be black people who get their voice amplified, when instead both races should have a platform to speak up about abuse and violence.
That's not what I got out of that. I just got more of like there's an unequal representation of black people in the media when it comes to, we went over it, but like, yeah, I don't get that. I feel like this is not the truth.
I know you struggle with this, Papa Gut, but other people have different opinions, and you need to learn that. Also, what are you trying to say at the end right there? To me, it sounds like cope, but I could be wrong. There.
Not to be an asshole, this guy is kind of engaging in like the talking over minorities. You're kind of minimizing like every issue of like a BIPOC person here.
I don't think I can take you seriously anymore. Just because I don't have respect for Petty Page doesn't mean I am talking over minorities. How am I minimizing every single issue? At worst, I'm only wording my arguments poorly. You state that you don't want to be an asshole, but you're labeling me as a racist. Throughout this video, you have been assuming my intentions, and have been twisting my arguments to make me look like a racist. This is the first time I've ever heard of you, and you are already labeling me as racist, which caused your audience to completely lose their minds in my comments section. It's kind of pathetic, to be honest. Keep in mind, you thought someone calling her fat was racist.
Very insensitive. Like I understand it because I used to be like a dumb white guy, and I've done my best to try to educate myself. And I say I'm not fully educated.
I don't believe you realize how messed up that sounds. To me, that sounds like an extreme version of white guilt. You refer to yourself as a dumb white guy, giving the viewer the assumption that you believe all white people are stupid. I believe you need to reword that, or if you genuinely believe that, by your logic, I am not racist, and you are instead. You claim that you are trying to educate yourself, and you don't seem to be educated at all.
But like, yeah, man, you're kind of proving the point here a little bit. You're kind of speaking over and you're diminishing. It's just like a common like, black people are too sensitive, like argument. You know what I mean? And it's very dismissive, and I think that you should listen. You don't have to like Petty Page, and we can acknowledge it. It seems like Petty Page does use races. She plays the race card even when it's not appropriate.
I am not trying to prove that black people are too sensitive. I am, however, trying to use the racism section of this video as a whole, just to prove that she is a hypocrite, which is shown later on in the video. Originally, I did not plan on this section being my main point, but since the video was rushed, it became the main point.
But fundamentally, like, what she's saying isn't, like, inherently wrong. You know? Yeah. This is the problem with the commentary community, I think, is that once people decide they hate a person, like there's everything's bad faith. It's like, for instance, Keemstar Sniper Wolf thing. Not a big fan of Keemstar, but he was 100% correct on the Sniper Wolf situation. But everybody's like, oh, well, it's Keemstar, he's bad, so that means that like Sniper Wolf is fine. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. It becomes very unintelligent. We just shout over each other, and it makes me feel like people are only right sometime. They're only right on accident. So like, it just seems like, hey, well, whatever like Def Noodles, whatever Keemstar says is wrong. So like he's wrong.
I get what you're trying to say, but I'm using many small points to prove one whole point. Except the problem is that I didn't do the arguments correctly, which led to you coming to this conclusion. I'd be happy for Petty Page to do something right, so I don't entirely hate her, unless she keeps continuing drama with me. Also, one other thing that I noticed is that T channels do the exact same thing. They label a lot of commentary channels as evil or whatever you want to call them.
And then when he's right, because it's just countering Keemstar's narrative, it's just because he's anti-Keemstar, not because necessarily. I mean, Keemstar's wrong a lot, but you know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, it's whatever the opposite of what Keemstar says, and so like you're just going to be right 90% of the time because Keemstar's mostly wrong. But you get my point. But it's not because they're actually right or wrong. It's because it's just going against whatever the person that they don't like's narrative is. And that's a problem, I think. And one of the problems too is that it's very acceptable to hate Petty Page because she makes videos that like people don't agree with, and I don't agree with a lot of her videos, a lot of her content either. I don't agree with a lot of her like takes on Trisha and whatnot. I made a whole video going through her last thing. I didn't agree with it. But people like she's not liked by. I don't think that she's really liked by a lot of people. She doesn't really have like a core. I don't know. She doesn't seem to have like a community of people that like will sit with her. From what I've seen, she's in the drama sphere, and everybody hates Trisha in the drama sphere. So like she has no friends, you know. And I know I'm in the drama sphere of it too, but like I kind of have like I feel like I have a different community because I'm a little bit in politics and drama and social issues, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, so that's why it's very palatable. This is one of the problems where people won't call people out if they're considered a hated figure. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. It's more about like, well, nobody's going to defend that person. So yeah.
Once again, I agree with you here. A bit of context before I show you the next part of the video. While in production of the video, I had already seen the error made, and I didn't think it was a too noticeable issue with the video, because I didn't expect Papa Gut to make a video on me, just like no other small commentary channel should have to expect 100k plus subbed YouTuber to make a video on them. And proceeds to take a picture of herself looking down at white people.
Did you just catch that?
Nah, I didn't catch that. I turned off my ears.
Hold on. I'm gonna blast the volume. Trigger warning here.
You've been blasting the audio for the last hour.
Hold on. Just listen to what this motherfucker...
He sounds like a balloon exhaling air. Just up there. And proceeds to... This is a great example of why you don't turn up your volume when watching one of my videos. Also, it goes great with the stock music in the background. To take a picture of herself looking down at white people.
That's fucking Nicki Minaj, you fucking asshole! Right? It's Nicki Minaj.
Nah, it's Will Smith.
Or is it Cardi B? I don't know.
He already contradicts himself. So technically, I'm not taking the L. This is really sad. And the jokes won't stop writing themselves.
It's fucking Nicki Minaj, I'm pretty sure. This is not Petty Page. This is literally Nicki Minaj, right? I have to be... I can't spell her name.
Oh no, oh no. You can't be serious. There's no way he can't spell Nicki Minaj. Even a toddler could spell that.
Bro, this is Nicki Minaj. This is Nicki Minaj. You're saying that that's Petty Page taking a picture of herself? Brother, that...
You act so disappointed in me, yet you couldn't even spell Nicki Minaj. Then you thought it was Cardi B, so your argument is invalid. Now I will properly defend myself and state the reason for this error. Originally, when I went to record my line for this tweet, I hadn't written a script, so I improvised on the spot. While looking at my Premiere Pro panel, the tweet appeared so small, I couldn't make out the features of her face, and to me it looked like Petty Page. I realised this later on before I was going to export the video, but I thought no one would care or notice. This is nothing too deep, And why would any intelligent person give a shit? But Petty Paige, since she is petty, thought I was being racist and reached to the conclusion that I thought people from the opposite race looked the same. This was the easiest point she could have used against me, since she isn't intelligent enough to use proper arguments against me, and her stupid fans fell for it.
That's Nicki Minaj, bro. Okay. You know, Betty Page might say that's racist because you think all black people look the same.
Spot on, she did. And her fans mindlessly agreed with her. Some of their responses were kind of funny, not gonna lie.
This is definitely Nicki Minaj, right? I just didn't know if I got the name right because I'm an old fucking boomer. Bro, this isn't even...
The balloon is deflating again.
I'm looking up Nicki Minaj looking down on Google right now. I'm not seeing it. I wish I could. Then I could be like, bro, look at this. But that's not even Petty Page. It's just funny. It's not that big of a deal, but it's just like fucking funny, bro. It's just fucking ridiculous. It's absurd.
I'll agree with you there. It really sums up the disaster of that section. Not gonna lie, I'm not gonna defend that section too hard, because I am planning to revise it. Just off there, and proceeds to take a picture of herself looking down at white people.
Come on.
Even if I wasn't on the end of the joke is getting old real quickly. She wants white people to shut up just because of their skin color. This is how stupid Petty Page is. She tries.
That's what you call white fragility, brother.
White fragility. Okay, I'm starting to notice a pattern here. You seem to be suffering from white guilt. Earlier, you stated that you were a dumb white guy, giving the viewer the assumption that all white people were stupid in your opinion. You can confirm whether you agree with this or not. Now you're saying that you want all white people to shut up, which is kinda suspicious. And it's starting to make you seem a bit racist.
She's not really saying white people shut up. I think she's really just saying, like, I'd rather have people of color or BIPOC people, you know, insert their opinions on a particular issue rather than white people. That's fair.
I'd agree with you there, but she worded this so poorly and came off so aggressive that I disagree. And I will take back that statement, assuming that you're a bit racist. If you went out and fully agreed with her, then I'd be a bit iffy with your statement.
It is a little, and like, listen, I'm like the last guy. Usually, I'm not like, oh, white fragility, but like, you're just so wrong that we have to get like SJW-ish here, man.
I doubt that. I wouldn't say you would be the first person to say this stuff, because that would be dishonest. But looking over some of your content, I can tell you would be an SJW, no matter how much you deny this.
I'm just saying, she's not even really that divisive. What she's saying isn't really that bad. Like, I've seen a lot worse, and like, she's being pretty reasonable in some of these comments when referring to white people. I'm not saying the last stuff that she doesn't like again, but
she's not really divisive. That's because you agree with her. It's
I don't know,
just
bro.
to be stupid at this point. Too many white people talking over minorities. That's so f***ing funny. I'm sorry
that's not. It's kind of a problem, bro.
You wouldn't understand, Papa Gut. It's a fucking website. It's literally impossible to talk over someone on that site. If a white person comments, you can scroll down further. Or are you that lazy that you can't scroll down a Twitter thread just to find a comment that you want to see? There are more white people than black people. Petty, not everything is even. I've never cringed so hard looking at one tweet before.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Not everything's like, I don't understand. What are you trying to say? Like, you know, wait, shut up, black person. I don't understand.
What do you fucking think I mean? Do I have to break this down again, Papa Gut? There's a thing called population. There's something called people in the population. And there's a thing called race. There's more of one race than the other race. It's not rocket science, you absolute moron. And I like how you try to strawman my argument at the end and put words in my mouth and say, shut up, black person. What I was saying was that there were more white people who follow her over black people.
I think it's more of like a, hey, like, let's say I made a post about God of War on Twitter, right? I was like, hey guys, I'm excited for the new God of War. And then a bunch of fucking people who hated God of War or like didn't even know what it was were like, bro, this game seems fucking lame. I'd be like, dude, shut the fuck up. This post is for people who like God of War. I want to see less people who don't even know what God of War is commenting on it. That's kind of what you're talking about.
That's called saying something and expecting every one of your followers to agree with you. Your argument is more about preferences. While what Petty Paige's issue is that she has a large amount of followers from the other race. And understandably, the people from the other race won't be happy when she is telling them to shut up specifically. I wouldn't compare a great game like God of War to race, which is an understandably decisive topic. Also, how do the commenters know that you don't want them to complain about the game? In the example you provided, you never mentioned about putting out a tweet complaining about the toxicity of your hypothetical fan base.
Because the center topic seems to be like, oh, you know, systemic racism in some capacity, so I want less white people to comment on it because they're just diminishing my experience. And you're like, oh, bro, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? I get it. I understand what she's saying, you know?
I completely disagree, since her tweet stated that non-people of colour should shut up with no context at all. In this tweet, she acts like every time she tweets, it's something directly referring to race. So in general, no matter what she says on Twitter, she wants white people in the comments to shut up.
More white people in the villa for a show sponsored by Just Eat UK. There is no flavor, no spice. Okay. What's up with this girl's nose, bro? I'm sorry. That was inappropriate.
I have no clue what he said. I had to turn up the volume on that specific spot just to even hear what he was saying. So if anyone knows what he just said, tell me in the comments. And then proceeds to use one of the most basic images I ever seen. But
I mean, I think that's what we call a meme. I think she's memeing a little bit. She's saying that there's not a lot of black representation or BIPOC representation and saying that like BIPOC people are the flavor that's missing from it.
Okay, I cannot really disagree with you here, but it isn't memeing, it's joking. She isn't funny enough nor capable of memeing. It just wasn't obvious what she meant. In my opinion, Love Island should hire the actor that is capable of doing the job or understands how to act dramatically. So I'm probably gonna still leave this point in when I remake the video. All I'm going to do is reword my argument.
So
most of the people in the image are white, just ruining her own point. In this next...
How does that ruin her own point? That like proves her point. I'm so confused, brother.
What the f***? I don't recall making this point. I must have slipped up since I was working under a time schedule and I was up late recording this. I don't even agree with the statement I have made, and I do agree it makes her argument stronger. I think I tried to find meaning behind her shitty stock photo, and I'm pretty sure I mistakenly inferred that she compared all white women on the show to basic white women on the stock photo, but she meant something else. My point was meant to be that she prefers black actors hired over people who are capable of the job. I am not saying they aren't capable, but she never stated that she wanted people who were capable of acting.
How old are you, man? I'm not even trying to be rude. I feel like you're a little behind.
I would not be talking if I were you. You thought that someone making a joke about lynching the tea community was directed specifically towards her. Additionally, you couldn't even spell Nicki Minaj, and then you thought that the image of Nicki Minaj was Cardi B. So if I were you, I wouldn't be questioning anyone's age. Also, I find it really odd that you are checking my Twitter page as you are mentioning my age, expecting to see my age publicly stated on my account.
Damn, I'm so used to people being like very educated on like systemic racism that I forgot that there's so many people who aren't. I will say the video is I think the video is like well done. It looks nice visually. It has like a nice flow to it. It's just you're kind of off on some of your points, brother.
I will admit you're 100% correct about that, and thanks for the compliment. Starts off with saying, imagine black woman walking in the countryside causing complaints, frown emoji.
Imagine old white people thinking the country belongs to them. What? BBC hits back as country file viewers moan about the feature on black women's walking group. Historically, some groups have felt less able than others to take part in outdoor activities. Any initiative which seeks to address the balance is to be welcome. Okay, so it seems like white people are complaining about trying to make a more inclusive space for BIPOC people? Okay.
I should have put this in a different section, if I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, this argument is completely wrong. The reason I chose this tweet was she came off as a complete fucking arsehole in it. Yeah, I take the blame for this. I shouldn't be rushing a video out. I don't know why I made this error though. I know better than this. This is fucking funny.
Well, I think that you should have read the thing that they put in here. It seems like there's white people complaining about black. Like, it seems like white people in this instance are complaining about an initiative to make a more safer space for BIPOC people, or black people rather, to be safe in this area. And the white people are like, "Oh, this is ridiculous." You know what I mean? Like that's what the argument is.
Whoops, I forgot to read the article. Anyway, I was planning on doing that, but slapped that in last minute. This is probably my biggest mistake in the video. Yet, I don't really care about it. I wish I could give you a proper reason for me forgetting to do this, but I kind of just forgot. Like, it's all a blank. I don't remember anything from the time.
Okay, I mean, I don't know what they're referring to. People are mean as hell. What the fuck's wrong with people? Mediocre white people been winning this whole time, and Becky, when black people win awards, this is what y'all do every time. You did the same thing with Halle Berry and Monsters Ball. We aren't, if we aren't playing slave roles. So, okay, yeah, there is an argument to be made that, like, sometimes awards are kind of just given out because of a social narrative. I mean, not to be rude, but Caitlyn Jenner won fucking Woman of the Year, like, the first year.
Based, and you're spitting facts at the same time.
That they were, like, passively trans. I'm not trying to be rude. So, it does exist. And people are like, "Oh, the black person just won because of that." It's possible they did. It's also possible that they didn't. And then Petty Page is just responding and saying like, "Oh, you guys, like, you're always trying to diminish black people. Any chance you get." It's valid criticism. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. I think it's a reasonable point, though. I don't know why we're having a fucking meltdown over these points, though.
I'm not having a meltdown, but okay, you can keep reaching if you want.
You don't know who Halle Berry is, bro? What the fuck? This guy doesn't know who Nicki Minaj, or because he said Halle Berry. You don't know who Nicki Minaj is or Halle Berry, bro? What the fuck? Where you living on our goddamn rock?
Oh, come on, Papa Gut. Taking too many L's. I know who Nicki Minaj is. Mate, you don't even know how to spell her name. Also, who the f*** is Halle Berry? No cunt knows who that is. Okay, I just looked up who the f*** she is, and it comes up as her first movie that she's in is Catwoman. Jesus Christ, that movie was a fucking flop. That movie got an 8% on Rotten Tomato, and I have no clue how it got a 3.4 out of 10 on IMDb. Okay, apparently she appeared in the X-Men series, so I can forgive her for that. But she didn't appear in the movie Logan, which, if you don't know, carries Marvel. So I can conclude she can't act for.
Have you ever jerked off before? I'm just kidding.
Papa Gut, you one sussy bucker.
Halle Berry, I think Nicki Minaj is hotter, honestly. I just like the bigger bodies, but Halle Berry is attractive, you know?
Yes, Nicki Minaj does look better, but her face reminds me of Petty Page, so no.
Kind of. I mean, it might be kind of true, man. You know what's so interesting? We're gonna go off on a tangent now about these movies. It's very interesting, and I remember watching a video about this a while ago, and it really resonated with me. Is a lot of like slave movies were from like the white perspective, where the white person was like the white guy back in the day of the horrible slavery racisms he's one of the good whites, and then you follow his story and you feel like you identify with that character. You're like, see, I'm a good white person. I wouldn't have a slave. It's like, wow, what a fucking profound thing. Like, that's how you're setting the bar real high for yourself. You know what I'm saying? It is very interesting, and a lot of movies that talk about black issues tend to be from a white perspective. Now, it makes sense because white people are consuming it more. It does play on like white people's savior role as people, which I don't think it's exclusively to white people. We just happen to be the dominant narrative. And of course, like, it has the positive of being like, oh, look, it's a pro-black movie from a white perspective, but it does tend to drown out the black perspective in the black movie. You know, we view a lot of these like movies from like a white lens. You know, yeah, it's just kind of true.
I'm gonna bring this film up again. Django Unchained. It is a good example of a slave film that's from the black people's perspective. Even The Guardian, which is a newspaper company, wrote an article titled "Django Unchained wins over black audience despite Spike Lee criticism." There was even an interview done with Quentin Tarantino on the film titled Quentin Tarantino responds to the criticism of using the N-word in Django Unchained. I recommend you watch the video before jumping to any conclusions. The only fault people could find with the film was the usage of the N-word, and that was about it. But the film was backed up with a good representation of slavery.
I just feel like you didn't even listen to what she said. What the fuck, bro? Like, what are you doing, dog? You made me really, like, unironically cringe, brother. Like, she was just saying that the only time black people win roles is when they play slave.
Whoa, really? Not like I read the tweet or anything. I don't think you know this. Black people can win awards without playing as slaves. For instance, Will Smith got a couple of awards for his role in the film King Richard. I know you struggle with this, Papa Gut, but it's called The Real World. In addition to your response earlier, oh no guys, I made Papa Gut unironically cringe. We had to insert unironically to make it sound like an even bigger issue.
And like what she's trying to basically say, if you dig through the argument, is the only time black people seem to win is when they're playing like a role that makes white people feel better about themselves for racism.
And I completely disagree with that statement. Since Will Smith won an award for acting in King Richard, and Samuel L. Jackson won an award in Pulp Fiction, and there are other examples, but I don't have time to cover them all.
You can disagree with it, but like you literally just like, oh, she's bringing up slavery again. It was like, that's not really what she was doing. She wasn't like complaining about slavery. She was just bringing up the types of roles that seem to need to exist, you know, in order to...
She did mention the word slavery, so technically I'm not wrong.
For black people to win. Also, did Denzel Washington ever win a fucking Emmy? I mean... Like, has he ever won? Because, like, that, to me, proves racism exists. You know what I'm saying? If Denzel Washington has never won whatever award, I feel like he hasn't. Then, like, that's... Bro, who the fuck else? Like, Denzel Washington's incredible. I don't think he's ever won an award. That guy's fucking amazing. So that, I mean, I was, like, memeing at first, but it's kind of true, man. That guy was incredible, and I don't think he's ever really won something, which is kind of fucked up, like an Emmy or anything, which is fucked up. Because he's an incredible actor, bro. I remember watching him. Bro, do you remember... Did he win for Training Day? Okay, you remember that movie where he went into the hospital and like put the gun to the guy? He's like, fucking fix my son. That shit was fucking nuts, man. That movie was good. He's good in everything, dude. He won an Oscar? Alright, maybe I'm wrong.
Papa Gut, I wouldn't be jumping to conclusions just yet. Denzel Washington has won 2 Academy Awards, 2 Golden Globe Awards, 1 Screen Actors Guild Award, 1 Tony Award. In total, that is 6 awards, which is really impressive. He's gotten an award in Malcolm X, Training Day, another award in Malcolm X, and The Hurricane. He's also won numerous film critic awards. So my point very much stands.
This is, dude, I hate it. I hate it. I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my God. I've never before in any video, like, actually used the word white fragility unironically.
Move on. You've already stated that.
But, like, bro, the fact that you're so sensitive to hearing about racism to a point where you're not even taking her message normally.
I spent about 2 or more weeks editing the video. Of course, I'm not going to be in the mood to hear someone cry about white people. Of course, you'd be into that. You suffer from so much white guilt, it's become your personality. I'm so sorry that I'm not interested in this topic. I'm pretty sure it's quite clear that the video is rushed.
That's a you problem.
Actually, it's more of a you problem since you're the one throwing a fit over my video, which wasn't specifically tailored for you.
Bro, that is like a white fragility. Like, you're tired of hearing about racism or you're tired of hearing about slavery. It's like, holy fuck.
Why can't I be tired of it? I'm genuinely curious. Like, if you're this interested in slavery, go get help. Please, just go get help.
It's crazy, dude. What the Come on, man. Come on, brother. Oh, did I watch that? Oh, no, I didn't watch. Wait, did I watch The Hateful Eight? I don't remember what I watched.
So, Papa Gut, you know who Halle Berry is, yet you haven't seen this masterpiece of a film? That's a pretty massive L.
Yeah, but it's interesting because that German guy was like the white representation where you're supposed to kind of live through them if you're a white guy.
I'm sorry that I'm supposed to like a well-written character.
And at the end of the movie, what's really fucked up is like because of that white guy's pride, he basically fucked everybody up. I never really looked at it like that, but at the end, he instead of taking the L, paying the guy, he fucking shot him because he hated him so much, and that caused a lot of problems for the main character. And it was only because of like weird Matrix movie shit that he was able to get away. That's very interesting.
Aren't characters allowed to have faults? Since you were so good at screenwriting, how about you teach us? In addition to this, if he hadn't died, the film would have not been able to focus the story on Jamie Foxx. One more bonus this scene gave us was it allowed for the main character to have one of the most badass action scene in a film. If that is racist, then I don't know what isn't. And in my opinion, watching one of the main antagonists getting shot was satisfying. But I understand if you can't handle a well-written film.
You know, so I'm gonna say that I doubt this guy picked up on it. So here's what I would get out of this is like first and foremost, Petty Page talks about how 90% of like the commentary community is white, and like that's why they don't want her there. But then she claims that 90% of her commentary or her subs are white, which to me like kind of disproves that, because it seems like if white people are the most people supporting you, you can't really make the argument that like white people don't want you in the space. That's where I would focus more on, like that issue. People do hate white people. It is a growing narrative. It used to be a meme to fucking, well, this was in 2019 where like it was still a meme. So, but nowadays, like, yeah, there's people do hate white people. There is like it's becoming more acceptable to be hateful to white people. I hate having to say it because I'm not a fucking victim, but it's real. But like it's 2022 now. You have to look at this through the lens of 2019, because like back then it was still kind of a meme, you know, of like hating white people. Now it's becoming like kind of mainstream.
Papa Gut? You can't say that. That's racist. No, I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, thanks for that.
So far, you haven't really shown me anything that makes me feel like she hates white people. She might play the race card, but she doesn't seem to hate white people.
Well, I'm not too surprised you said that, so I won't try any further.
And if she does, it's because people like you, man, are taking her out of context so horribly that...
Can you stop continuing this narrative about me taking her out of context? Is it that hard? I already stated earlier that I did not take her out of context. But yet, you go on pushing this narrative. Is it because I didn't show you that clip the one time? Because it got corrupted? I'm so sorry I didn't read out her entire tweet history. Do you not realize how entitled you sound?
Horribly that she's just starting to get frustrated with white people. I mean, I'm just being honest, man.
This was before I made the video, but okay. Keep justifying racism.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. We'll time you out. Alright? Don't tell me to watch something else. You I'm 26 minutes into this video. You're like, can you watch something else? Leave the stream, bro. I'm not trying to be a dickhead, bro, but shut the up. I hate it when people do that. This isn't like your stream, dude.
I 100% agree with you on that, but the irony in your own audience being entitled.
I'm like a 26 minutes into a video, like, can you watch something else? Go turn on Pokemon. Like, go, I don't know what to tell you, brother. Shut the up. Dude, I hate that. I'm sorry I'm getting so irritated, but it's like, what a presumptuous thing to do. To come into somebody's stream when I'm doing like a segment. I'm like 26 minutes in. Like, it's not even a meme video. And the first thing you're like, bro, can you watch something else? Bro, check this out. Go to Twitch and like go watch MasterChef on like any of the top streamers. Go to Pokemon and watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. Go watch this. Here, I'll put it in my chat for you. I don't know how this isn't like a DMCA strike, but like, be my guest. Go do that, bro. So.
And honestly want Augie to understand that my visceral reactions when it comes.
I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what the context is.
Since you're a bit slow, Papa Gut, I'll explain the context. The context is that the tweet is a thread, and this is just after the live stream where Augie tried to debate Petty Page. But obviously it didn't work.
That seems like a reasonable criticism. Like, listen, I understand jokes. Like, it sounds like Augie might have made like a joke about how he's like a proud Asian or whatever. That's whatever. You do you. Edgy joke, be my guest. But generally speaking, people who make edgy jokes about the people of different races aren't super receptive to like deep conversations about systemic racism. So I can understand why she said that. I don't know the full context, but I'm just saying.
It's pretty shitty if she has to use a stereotype to jump to conclusions about someone, rather than talking to the person. But she is good at being a coward. She's done it to me as well. And I will get into that later.
Now look, that's her looking down. Not Nicki Minaj.
You got the whole squad laughing.
I don't know why she's continuously going on about it, though, if you were like, I don't want to do it, but okay.
That's because Petty Page is trying to push her victim narrative. Like he's a child.
Oh, well, he is younger. 20 is kind of a child. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I don't know. I guess I'm just not bad faith. Look, I got it perfect on the thing. Like the conclusion. I guess it's just like I'm good faithing her, and people usually don't do that. So it's possible she's just being condescending. I don't really know.
She oath is being a condescending. I'm going to be honest. The average child is probably more intelligent than her.
I think one instance isn't really a good way to say that they're not open to criticism. I think it would be better if you had more than one example. This doesn't seem to be too much. Like, listen, again, it's quite possible that Petty Page is just massive hypocrite. I don't know if I've seen anything hypocritical here, right? Like, well, the definition of a hypocrite, you know, it's usually like when you say one thing or you go against your own general moral values. I don't know if I've seen an example of hypocrisy. Yeah, the practice of claiming to have a moral standards or beliefs to which one's behavior does not conform to. Yeah, I don't see that. Maybe you could have said something else. But like you're using one example, so it should have just been like, oh, I don't know. I guess it's just a clickbaity title. I guess I do that too sometimes. But
okay, I'll give you an explanation for why the title's like that. When I started planning out the video, I thought it'd be a video on her hypocrisy, but it later changed, and then I just forgot to change the title, and when I released the video, I just couldn't be bothered to change the title. And I'm pretty sure at the end, I have it all tied together to prove that she is a hypocrite. I could be wrong though. Deaf Noodles, claiming that people hated him because of his race. Petty.
Maybe. I mean, I didn't get that from what she was saying. I don't know.
Then don't say anything if you don't know. She literally did what I just said. I went back and double checked as well.
Bro, you're just recapping the video.
Bruh, this is literally the conclusion.
I just wish we had more than one instance, bro. You know what I mean?
I understand what you mean, but you mentioned clickbait. So joke's on you, I don't have to follow the title.
Yeah, it's possible that she does all these things, but like one instance isn't enough to show me like, oh, you know what I mean? Like I need to see it all.
I heard you the first time, move on. Claiming that they were making lynching jokes.
I saw a couple of lynching jokes, so, you know.
Yes, my apologies. There was a lynching joke that wasn't referring to Petty Page specifically. And yes, Augie did address it in one of his responses to Petty Page.
Well, now that I know that he's Brazilian, I don't like him. I'm just kidding. I didn't. You know, I don't really dislike people per se. I didn't really like the misinformation campaign kind of a deal with Keemstar, specifically on the Sniper Wolf thing, because I think she did a really shitty thing. She promised to talk to a kid that was dying of cancer, and then she tried to back out on it, and that was really shitty. Like she was like, "Oh, we can do it another day, but I'm really busy." Like that's basically your dad saying, like, "Sorry, son, I'm not gonna hang out with you ever. We got divorced," you know.
Agreeable, but I do prefer Keemstar over you. Sorry.
You didn't show a single one where she was attacking white people, brother. I'm just saying.
Seems like you're reiterating your own statements, just like I reiterated my statements in my conclusion. How neat.
Well, I don't think she was making a point that there are too many white people in the commentary community. I think she was saying that she's not welcome because there's so many white people that are like racist. And I don't agree with that. I think that's her using her race as an excuse.
That's what I meant, but I phrased it poorly.
But the next one where she's like, hey, we're talking about like BIPOC issues. I wish there were less white people talking. It's not an attack on white people. That's just like a hey, you know, like stop. Because most of the replies are probably like people like you who just don't really have like a deep understanding of systemic racism or anything, and you're just like, shut up, you know what I mean? Like you're just like, F you. You're just a sensitive black person.
You claim that I stated you're just a sensitive black person. To me, that sounds like projection. Maybe you need to rethink what you say, Papa Gut.
That's a vibe I got out of this, man. I'm sorry. It just is. Maybe. I haven't really seen anything like super racist. Like, it seems like maybe sometimes she like accuses people of being racist, but I haven't really seen it, man.
You state this because I didn't word my arguments correctly. And if I had have scripted my argument properly, I could convince most people.
Well, so the way that you establish she's a hypocrite is by saying that, like, hey, racism is bad while she is racist.
That was my argument, though. Or did I not clearly state that?
I don't think that you can make that argument. I haven't seen any area where she's been racist. Not in this video. If there is areas, then like you failed as a content creator to display that point where she's being racist while calling out racism.
Okay, but a heap of your criticisms don't hold up.
So that's kind of like on you. Haven't seen it. I can't say that there's any hypocrisies from what you've displayed to me. right? Like it's kind of your responsibility to show me like, hey, this is a thing that's happening. Nothing here. There's nothing here, brother.
I understand what you're saying. I will fix what I need to fix.
She didn't actually talk about shit in her asshole, though. Not the one I've seen. I wonder, I mean, maybe I'd watch that, but...
You can take that up with Augie, and you need to stop being so horny. It's just getting a bit sus.
Montage here. Okay, so this is like a waste of the ending. Okay.
A waste of the ending. That literally makes no sense. Papa Gut, if you didn't know this, I have the freedom to extend the ending as long as I want. I know it's hard. I know you struggle with watching YouTube videos, so I'll suggest something for you. You can skip that section. I know, it's a genius idea. And I got the inspiration from, well, I know a bunch of YouTubers who do montages at the end of some of their videos. So there's no way that I'm wasting time. You're just wasting your own time.
Why'd you throw Vosh at the end? Wait, hold on. I'm curious about like what's up. Why did you throw Vosh in at the end of here? What the fuck?
That was a teaser for a video I was going to make, but you kind of threw a fit over my video, and so did Petty Page, so I had to waste time making a response to you. Anyway, I'm not going to go further with that video, so I'm just going to remove it from the re-edit of the video.
Why? What the f***?
My man here is having inhuman reactions. Seems like he can't process what he just heard or saw. It's pretty obvious that the video ended, so you can infer that the teaser's for another video. Probably not this one because the video just ended.
I don't know what to say about that. I'm going to assume he was saying that like you've accidentally come across something.
What? That had nothing to do with the video at all, what you just said.
I don't even know. I don't even want. I felt like. Okay, I don't even know why that was in there. Is that like a common thing to just put Vosh talking about?
Why would that be a common thing? Are you truly this out of touch?
Okay. That threw me off. That just threw off, bro.
Good. I don't care. Your video's long enough. I just want to hear some proper criticism. Actually, I prefer the video to be over with.
Okay, so let's give the criticism. First and foremost, I mean, like, the video was made well.
That'd be lovely if the video just ended right here.
Like, it was cut up well and all that. Not enough information, though. You use one instance to try to push something. It doesn't really work if you only have, like, one. Like, hey, this one bad thing happened. This doesn't prove somebody's entire character. Sometimes people can just have bad days, and they can get into arguments and just be bad in those particular arguments. Just a fundamental, profound lack of understanding of systemic racism in a way that I never knew was possible.
You claim that I have a lack of understanding on that issue, when I didn't even script the entire section, and most of the disagreements are down to opinions, and mistakes I made at the time, since I didn't script.
I guess it's like he's a common man. Yeah, it was just fucking crazy. I don't know.
Look, the video is fine. I don't see how it's that crazy. There's just a bunch of mistakes in it. The only crazy thing is that you blew this up to massive proportions, and all the brainless people in your community went after me.
I don't know, man. I would try to just listen to some people talk about it, because I was insane.
Insanely good.
You know, keep up your grind, though, brother.
Well, the grind kind of halted after you made this video, which is quite ironic.
Holy.
Okay, that was random.
What's my favorite Among Us map? I have to piss. Among Us is gay. Gay Among Us.
The f did I just watch? That ending right there is very interesting. So I want to do what Papa Gut did and review his video. In my opinion, your video was boring, since it was 1 hour and 20 minutes long, which was partially off topic. There was no background music and there was no editing at all. So I consider the video a lazy stream, with no effort at all. You didn't even bother to search for the video yourself. Instead, you got one of your butthurt fans to send you my video, which bothers me since I have to respond to you since your channel is way larger than mine. And finally, you blatantly ripped off my thumbnail and slapped your watermark on it, since you were too lazy to make your own. As for criticisms towards your arguments, throughout the video you make plenty of mistakes, such as accusing me of removing context when one of the videos I had were corrupted. Furthermore, you misunderstood a large portion of my arguments, which was blatantly obvious as of what I meant. For instance, when I mentioned the population of people from different races in her audience, and when you assumed that I was trying to prove that black people were too sensitive when I was not even making that argument. You tried accusing me of suffering from white guilt, and even tried going so far to label me as racist, despite the fact that I called her out for telling white people as a whole to shut up. There was no evidence as to why she stated this, since the tweet was not in a thread. In this tweet, she acted like every time she tweets, it's something directly related to race. So in general, no matter what she says on Twitter, she wants white people in the comments to shut up. And you referred to yourself as a dumb white guy, which gives off the vibe that you think all white people are stupid. Yet again, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. Labeling me as a racist was a sad attempt at trying to destroy my reputation further. In addition to this, when you called me out for confusing Petty Page and Nicki Minaj with each other, you still managed to f that up when you couldn't even spell Nicki Minaj and got confused between Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. Second lastly, I debunked many of your points on racism, such as your point on Kyle Rittenhouse and your point on voter ID laws. Finally, you poorly criticised a well-written film, Django Unchained, and had not watched The Hateful Eight. Therefore, your opinions are invalid. But in all seriousness, there are many errors throughout your stream, and I feel that your conclusion to your stream does not do your arguments justice. As a result of this, I believe that you should not cover my content in the future, if you do not want to make an enemy out of me. Anyway, I have to cover one more topic, which is the discourse I had with Petty Page and her dense fans. The only reason I found out that she knew about the video I made is because she responded to me in the comment section of your reaction. I was responding to someone in the comments, which I admittedly shouldn't be doing, because it only feeds into the arguing, and to be honest, I'm not used to dealing with a wave of people on this large of a scale. Anyway, she stated, "Why don't you ask Augie why it hasn't happened, and do some research?" So at the time, I responded with the following statement: "I have done my research, and I got attacked for it. Use your brain instead of treating everyone like they are racist or harassing you." Admittedly, the grammar could have been better, but I would like to add the fact that she never properly defined what she meant by research, because clearly in the video there is research, but to what extent do you define research if your definition is this piss poor? I took a look at the large proportion of criticism and released a quick video in response to everything, so I could get a sense of what was happening since she had blocked me on Twitter in the past. I ended up taking down the video since it wasn't my regular content and wasn't a proper response. I just used it as bait since someone I know suggested I do that, and guess what? She took the bait easily, since she is gullible as f***. On Twitter, she quote tweeted me and stated that, "You are unblocked. Yes, I will debate you, because it's clear that you have the cognitive ability of a fish. Also, I don't look like fat Nicki Minaj at all. There is simply no similarity. All black people don't look the same." Where can I begin responding to this slanderous tweet? First of all, I had no clue that you unblocked me. Secondly, the only reason you will debate me is because I looked like an easy opponent, and you are pretty gullible. Thirdly, you do look like her in the image I was looking at. Finally, this is straight up slander. I never stated this. You are either stupid or extremely manipulative to your also gullible audience. Additionally, her grammar is horrendous. A quick side note is that she tried to find two images that looked very different from each other, rather than using the original image that was in the tweet she originally posted. She claimed underneath the tweet that I started an argument with myself, which garnered 58 likes underneath. I still don't understand how people fell for that, but yet again, it's her audience. Even though I have no clue what she is referring to. She responded to a fan underneath stating that, dude made a bad video on me, where even people who think I'm a couldn't stand beside it. Papa Gut, who also doesn't like me, made a video reaction where he also said the video was bad and now he's mad. The end. Once again, the punctuation is poor, but that is not what I'm focusing on. It's the fact that she paints this in such a poor way. I don't recall Papa Gut specifically stating that the video was bad, but he did react to it in a way that shows the video was bad. So you weren't entirely correct on that. Additionally, you didn't bother to mention that you're also mad. Lol, I'm just you. Please get your facts correct. She also made a tweet joking about her being called Nicki Minaj, since she could not form a decent argument against me. As well as this, the amount of emojis she's using makes her look like a boomer. Laugh my fucking ass off. She ended up DMing me and tried starting the debate that she mentioned earlier, but she backed out when I lied that I was a minor, just to see if she would back out. I'm not revealing any DMs since I don't believe it is the right thing to do in this situation, or most situations. She made a final response stating that this isn't happening, the kid is a minor, spoke via Discord and he's a child. I'd like to ask my audience to refrain from speaking about them or to them. The "I know you are, but what am I" response makes a lot of sense. He's a kid. From the first two lines, you can tell she has good intentions. Then you look at her third sentence. It may look innocent at first, until I mention the fact that this statement is false. "I know you are, so what am I" is an extremely ineffective argument, and I have never stated this throughout my time on Twitter, except when I quote tweeted you after you stated that. So why did you do this? You hypothetically could have asked me for permission to show you the DM, yet you chose not to. Even if I hypothetically disagreed with you, we could have worked out a plan to stop the debate from going any further. Rather than blatantly slandering me to your audience, I'd like to see what fake DM you pull out of your ass to prove that I stated this argument, even though releasing DMs would make you look bad in front of your own audience. Unless they still want to blindly follow you. Underneath, she seemed to have gotten butthurt over a child being able to edit better than her garbage content. Shortly after she responded to me on Twitter, she had done a livestream on Twitch, but she took a massive L when she couldn't get her audio working, so she had to get her boyfriend or husband to help her with the easiest problem. Just hear him breathing. Oh, good, she realized. Doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. This is funny. Did she even bother to check that?
Is that where that needs to be?
Well, for being racist or being homophobic.
Legend.
What? What? You didn't know how to do that. You didn't know how to do that. There is one final statement I want to make about Papa Gut's poor thumbnails. Nicholas Diorio stated it in a tweet that he doesn't like the blatant copying and pasting of people's thumbnails. So I suggest you don't repeat this mistake again. Patty Page later released a response to Augie, which caught him off guard. My only comment on the video is that she doesn't directly mention me, which I'm fine about, because it matches her last statement. Anyway, that's all for the video. If you enjoy my content, subscribe. I will not be teasing my next video like last time, since some people don't know what a teaser is.
We gotta find